uh, to complete your training. If anything is there, we may connect for one more class for next week Saturday. We'll try to end up today if it is possible. Okay, let's to talk about the last class what you discussed. It's a class 17 today. What topic you discussed yesterday? RSV, Recovery Service Vault, for the Azure Backup and Restore, correct?
Yes, yes.
All right. So this is 1603. Okay, we talked about yesterday Azure Backup and Restore. In that we understood Recovery Service Vault, right? How to create a recovery service vault. We understood how to take a backup virtual machine, right? And how to restore. Okay, we have created some files and folder, right, on the VM, files and folders. And we understood how to restore specific folder. We have deleted and we tested. And also we understood how to check, how to take a backup of on premises. And this process called as a MARS, right? Microsoft Azure Recovery Service Vault agent, right? Is a MARS agent. So we understood that is in how to register process here. That is agent installed, agent download and install, right? And overall process we understood that is in on successfully we have did it on-prem data to Azure backup, and both we have tested backup and restore. And also we understood that is in how to delete recovery service vault. It's the most important, right? Otherwise it will not be going to, you know, it will be keep on staying in your Azure portal, but it will be chargeable. So with the help of PowerShell script, it will be deleted and it's become empty, right? So these are all topic we discussed on yesterday. So today we will be going to talk about another important called as Azure Monitor. It's a last topic. It's important topic. This is also, it's basically when you want to have a troubleshooting point, right? It would need it. And you can also update in your resume how the troubleshooting you want to do that. You can able to handle this. So this is little, process oriented. You should thoroughly understand what kind of monitor and how we need to monitor. We'll talk about. Good to go. In
Yes.
in Azure, when you talk about the monitoring, the by default, every resource, every resource has Azure enable the monitor. Remember, by default, you no need to have any additional process to be added. Every resources. In this, we have the two type of monitor. One is metrics, right? The second one is you should have the logs. So what is metrics here? Metrics is representing a numerical representation. Okay, numerical, which is number. It's a graph kind of. Okay, numerical representation, right? And logs, if you say that is in, it would be going to give that is in some activity log. Basically, we know that is in a traditional method. Everyone know that is event log, right? How you are reading the event log. Yes or no? In the event log, what we are logs generated is there. So whatever the activity you are going to do, that logs will be generated, correct? Yes or no?
Yes, yes, well,
So basically, if you talk about here, MS Paint, it would be like that, little more, understanding here. This is my, okay. Say for example, I have a VM1, okay. A VM1, this VM1, by default, this has, as I said, by default, every resource has that monitor. You don't need to have any additional monitor to be enabled. So this VM1, you want it to be verify this, it is monitoring enabled. In this, as I said, you would be having that is in metrics, and you would be having for logs. So here it would be a numerical representation. And here it is will be activity log. Right. Now, if you go to this VM in a portal, give 1 minute. Now, if you go to the VM, okay, so in the portal, default any resource if you talk about, but I'm just taking one example VM1, okay. So any resource if you see this, you would be able to this, which is metrics, and it is the logs. You would be able to see. Okay, let's come back to this and I'll show you this is how you want it to be. See this monitoring be enabled. Portal.azure.com. Six four double six five nine six four. All right. So let me quickly create a one virtual machine. I'll go to creating resource group, which is resource group underscore monitor. VM1. Twenty 19.
Anil,
Mhm.
hello.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, if it's by default, then it will be a free or how it still cost anything for monitoring or how it is?
No, it will be what the default, whatever you're going to have, that will be a cost. It will be a free. Okay.
Okay,
Additional, you wanted to be enabled monitoring, that would be a cost. I'll show you those details.
okay,
Because since it has been added, so now when you are having virtual machine, right? This virtual machine is going to cost for you too, that including all of those services, what is going to charge for here,
okay.
right? It is including since it is given you this default feature.
Mm-hmm.
But additionally, you have a specific Now maybe you might have heard about some Power BI involved, the dashboard you wanted to
Yeah.
implement, right? Those
Yeah.
kind of you wanted to add it would be chargeable. It would give you that is in depends on the retention period of the logs, because this logs is going to be verified. Additional logs would be added into the monitor, right?
Mm.
And plus how much space you wanted to be utilized. Okay, those logs will be keep on increasing. The space is required, correct?
Yeah.
Days and space, that is, it is cost for you.
Okay.
And remember one more important, it is as I said, by default every resource has a Azure enable the monitor. Also we have service called Azure Monitor. Okay, whatever you are having every resource is centrally. Okay, it means it should be like this. This is my individual resources monitoring enabled. Also we have that is in centralized Azure monitor and Azure monitor service. This is my Azure monitor. In this you have all the resources are available in this. Centrally you can do this, and it will be going to connecting by default is going to connecting to this under monitor. And whatever that is in all the resource we have, right, it will be already including in this. It's centralized, right? And additional monitor you want it to be configured, you can go and do this in this Azure monitor. And here you would be able to have an additional costers. Getting? Let me just show you that Azure monitor. And we will be going to test for you too. I'll help you to understand that. How do you set the alert, which is troubleshooting point of view. Okay. So now see this, we have built this machine, right? The moment if you see, as I said, the two type of log. One is called matrix, correct? If you go to the VM1, if you scroll down here, you would be able to see monitoring, right? This monitoring, you would be able to see this. You see this matrix, your CPU utilization, VM availability, right? By default, it's been enabled. It is already reading this everything. Getting this by default there in this, right? In the monitoring for matrix part, correct? You see here, these are all VM availability, CPU average, and all. But another one is called activity log. You see this here. What do you mean by activity log here? Activity log is if you do something, right? If you say someone reboot the server, restart the server, restarted VM, some action you did it, right? Yes or no? This activity, the action what you taken, the restarted that VM, and then the log will be updated, right? And that log we can able to verify here. In this, you see, create or update virtual machine succeeded. We just did it. If you reboot this machine now, for example, if you go to this and who did it, when did it, all the information would be available in the activity log. I just restarted the machine, correct? And if you go and see this, that log will be get the activity log, right? The action log would be generated here. If you just refresh it, you would be able to get updated for the restarted log, who did it, when it was done. Is if you double click this, you would be see this, right? Resource and the operation name is create and update, and when it is timestamp and who did it. This information you're able to track and see. This is for the troubleshooting point of view. And you refresh it, You see, under this, you would be able to see this is another few minutes. There will be the reboot log should be get generated here. So these are all comes under for creating a machines, which is newly built a machine. So another log will be generated here, which we restarted now. Right, this is a basic level of Azure monitoring. Okay, one you would be getting for the metrics. Second one is you would getting for the activity log. Right, let's verify this. Okay, this is created the machine. So you would be getting for the restarted the machine, get generated now. See this, you got it? We restarted the virtual machine now. Restarted virtual machine. When it is happened, who did it, right? And every activity you would be able to have this all the activity log by default. Understood? This is you no need to have any additional monitor to be updated, correct? Yes or no? Those information should be already updated. Is this clear? The basic level of monitoring enabled this one.
Yes.
Okay, now as I said, centralized Azure monitor to also be updated. Where if you go to this new tab and whatever you have that all the resources, right? Storage, resource group, networking, everything you wanted to manage. If you search here, monitor, you see, this is a monitor centralized. You would be able to see this, all the information will be available. You see, this is mainly activity log, alerts and matrix. These are all would be able to handle it. So when you select for the activity log, we just recently created a one VM and restarted the VM, correct? You can also filter it here. You have the subscription. If you have multiple subscription, you can select the first subscription here, and you see event severity also you can select it here. What kind of event log you would be selected, and add filter also. You want to have the all the resource group. You see this, you scroll down here, specifically resource group you wanted to select specific resource, right? You can select it. For example, you see the resource and what kind of the resource here. See, this is my VM1, right? If you select the VM1, you would be able to see those information now. You see, under this monitor, whatever we have seen, this is a individual log, individual monitor. We can also see into the centralized. Getting? Understood?
Yes.
Right. Now, I wanted to manage this log, which is monitor. What is that managing here? We wanted to, you know, specific some critical servers are there. Additional, we wanted to have some monitor. And what kind of monitor? Say, for example, now, if some critical applications of VMs are there, I'll take one example for critical VM. How to set a alert? Okay, alert monitor. And what kind of actions you need. Now, what is basically happening, right? In Azure has a auto intelligence process. Now, in a traditional method, we would be looking for only what is the alert you are getting, right? We are good monitoring. But in Azure has a mechanism. If something happened, right? And what actions you need to be taken and where should be notified, where must be notified. If something happened, where should be notified means what? You would be able to send, this is an do you send the email, do you send that is in SMS, do you send that is in voice message, right? And do you send that is in some Okta or push authentication, some OTP kind of, right? And also you wanted to check what kind of actions you wanted to be, right? What actions you wanted to take. So it would be basically like this. I'll show you one practically how you wanted to set the alert and how you can monitor it. It should be like this. Let me just show you a new one. Now, say for example, I have here Azure monitor, right? This is my Azure monitor centralized. Azure monitor. Now I have the resources here. It's my one VM1. Something you wanted to monitor if this VM CPU is greater than 75%. Okay. If it is CPU greater than 75%, so you need to plan for here, create an alert here in the Azure monitor. So here we need to create an alert. Okay. What kind of alert and how it's processing here. If something reached this CPU greater than 75%, and this information trigger to Azure monitor, we need to create here. And what's going to happening here, the moment it is trigger this, you need to indicate to whom to notification sent to, what kind of notification you want to send. Here you wanted to have either email, either SMS, you can have that is in voice message also, you have that, right? And if you get the notification, you would be able to alert and you can have address for that message. Also you have that another option, you wanted to take some action also. Okay, which is you can take some action, and that has to be created workflow, that we need to create a workflow, right? This is called action. In the action we must to be created the process we have to follow. This is so what kind of that process, that is you need to tell to that is in what kind of workflow you need to decide it accordingly, it will be going to action it. Getting this? Understood this basic of to monitoring my resources. You wanted to have like this Azure monitor alert. Okay, so let's see this how you are going to set up this alert. Okay, is this clear, everyone?
Yes, Neil.
Concept is clear.
Yes.
Okay, now if you go to the monitor, now you would be able to see this alert here, right? In this alert, you would be able to manage it for one by one, right? If you see create alert rule, now there is a process to be followed here mainly, right? So here it is a scope, condition, action, right? All these things you need to be managed here. So what kind of the resource group here? Browse. You should be able to select for virtual machine, right? Virtual machine. You see virtual machines. You would be automatically get detected for your virtual machines here, right? The name of the virtual machine.
RG monitor, I
You
believe.
have that is resource group, right? It's just talking about, but I wanted to have the virtual machine, but you should select for the location here. It should be select for the VM1, right? What you selected here. You see, correct? So we wanted to monitor for this VM1 apply. And other resource you wanted to make it alert, you can do this, right? And if you go to the condition, and this is a process called a signal name, right? So what I decide here, right? This is signal name. This process called triggering process called a signal. What kind of signal here, right? Choose what you would like to measure, right? Now you see here by default we have all the default options, percentage CPU, right? We wanted to have a percentage CPU. Now important here, what is the actual requirement here? We have decided a requirement here for if the CPU utilization greater than 75%, create alert and to send a notification. And if you wanted to make some changes, you want to take a action reboot and all, you can do it. To selecting of this, alert logic, there's a two type or threshold type of it. One is static. What is meant by static here? The static has a specific number, correct? Threshold number. What is the threshold number we need to give is 75. There's a two way. The dynamic, when you select R here, dynamic is giving you without number, it will give some average, that is medium, high, low, depends on, you can select it, right? It will measure automatically. If you select the medium, it will be it is overall comes under for less than 60 and greater than 50 kind of, right? That's a two way to set up this static and dynamic. Let's create the static one. We would need a threshold 75 and the values, if it is a greater than, right? This was set greater than, right? CPU greater than 75%. Now this is greater than 75% on an average. Aggression, you wanted to exactly minimum maximum you want to set, you can set it. So on average greater than 75%, right? You see when to evaluate. Now this resource of VM1 wanted, think about this is my critical VM, right? Critical servers are there. I wanted to monitor, I wanted to keep an eye on this monitor, should not have a high utilization and also have a unexpected reboot and all. To when to evaluate, do you need to monitor every minute or every 5 minutes, every 15 minutes? Depends on a frequency of to check this machine is uh, getting for that is in more than greater than 75%. And look back period, you should wait for the 5 more minutes. The moment is reached to 75%, you need to fold that 5 minutes. It means you need to just monitor. If that look back period it is increasing, if it is still it is not getting down that 75%, then you should alert that is in trigger. This is the look back period or the time period of look back. At each time the data is checked, every 1 minute you will be looking for the past 5 minutes. So once it is every frequently and look back for it. Once it is that is it's verify that 75% reached and wait for 5 more minutes before you triggered it. If it is reached, okay, then what text you need to go to this, go to create. Now here you need to select for the action. Now here what we are talking about, right? What is that here? Action here. In this action place, set of action that can be applied, use a action group, use a quick action and a none. Now action, what you need to do here, select a action group, your subscription, you don't have any, select up to 5 action group. That group was not created anything, right? If you have that group would be there here. If you click on that action group, so you need to select for this is your resource group. And if you wanted to select that is region is global, action group name, you can say that VM monitor. Okay, display name is also put this monitor. And the next notification would be, see this notification type, what kind of here? Email Azure Resource Manager role and email. You see that what we are talking about here. What we're talking about here? Email, SMS, and voice message. Email, SMS, push also is there, right? You can also have the push. Okay, you can add on this, right? And if you select this, if you provided the email, you see notification type, you can enable the email and you can provide for this email ID. If you have the SMS, you can also provide that number, right? A phone number. Country code you have to select, right? 91, right? And if you have any other mobile app and you see voice and all everything, right? And just click OK.